I gotta be honest with you, this whole situation does not feel like a normal early season storyline anymore. It feels bigger than that. Because when something small turns into something that keeps a driver out, and then suddenly nobody knows when he's coming back, that is when you start paying attention in a different way. As a NASCAR fan, we have seen guys miss races before. It happens. Injuries happen. Illness happens. Life happens. But this feels different. This feels like one of those moments that can quietly shift the direction of an entire season. Not just for one driver, but for a whole team that is supposed to be competing for wins every single weekend. A team that came into 2026 with real expectations, real goals, and a real belief that they could be in the championship conversation. And now all of that is sitting on hold because of something nobody saw coming. And the craziest part is that this did not explode all at once. It built up piece by piece, race by race, update by update, until suddenly everyone in the garage and every fan watching realized something serious was going on. And now we are at a point where a major decision has been made. One that could define the next few weeks, and honestly, maybe even the rest of the season in a big way. So if you are following this season closely, trust me, you're going to want to hear how all of this unfolded from the very beginning. And hey, real quick, if you're a true NASCAR fan and you enjoy talking about this kind of stuff like we do here, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation Report is just getting started, and we are pushing toward 10,000 subscribers. So, if you want to be part of that early crew and be here from day one, you are absolutely in the right place. So, here's where everything really starts to come together. This whole situation did not just appear out of nowhere. It actually started during the race at COTA at the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. And at first, it did not even look like something that would turn into a headline like this. It looked like just another race day moment. But then mid-race, something changed. Alex Bowman started feeling something that no driver ever wants to deal with behind the wheel. Vertigo. And if you have been watching NASCAR for a while, you already know this is not just feeling a little off or having a rough day. This is serious. We are talking about a driver going nearly 200 miles per hour who relies on split-second judgment, depth perception, balance, and total spatial awareness every single moment he is in that car. Vertigo completely messes with all of that. It disorients you. It makes the world feel like it is spinning when it is not. It takes away the very things a driver needs most. And that is what makes this so scary. Because at that point, it is not about finishing the race anymore. It is not about points or strategy or track position. It is about getting out of the car safely. And that is exactly what happened. Bowman had to step out of the number 48 car mid-race. And let me tell you, that is rare. Drivers do not just climb out of a cup car in the middle of a race unless something is really, truly wrong. When that happens, you pay attention. Now, fast forward to Phoenix. At that point, everyone is thinking maybe it was just a one-race thing. Maybe a bad day. Maybe he rests up, gets checked out, and comes back ready to go. But then the update comes out, and it is not what anyone wanted to hear. He is not medically cleared. That is when Hendrick Motorsports had to go into full scramble mode and figure out what comes next on very short notice. They brought in Anthony Alfredo as a temporary replacement. And no disrespect to Alfredo at all, because stepping into a cup car on short notice for one of the premier teams in the sport is one of the hardest things you can do in NASCAR. There is no practice time, no rhythm built up, no real feel for the car. You were just thrown in and expected to perform. But the results showed exactly how tough that situation really was. He finished 33rd. No ridem, no real pase. The number 48 team just looked completely out of sync the whole weekend, and you could feel it watching from home. Everything fell off. The communication, the pit calls, the execution, all of it. And here's the bigger issue on top of that. It was not just a bad finish that stung. There was still absolutely no clear timeline for Bowman's return. No date, no target, no real answer for anyone asking. That is when the uncertainty really started to grow into something bigger. And then everything went from uncertain to complete chaos. Because Hendrick Motorsports accidentally revealed the next part of the plan before they ever meant to. A press release went live on their website. Just normal race weekend notes. Nothing flashy on the outside. But buried inside that release was one single line that changed everything. Justin Allgaier will drive the number 48 Ally Chevrolet. That was it. Just one line. But within minutes, the page was pulled down and deleted. Except it was already too late. Fans had seen it. Screenshots were taken. They spread everywhere across social media in a matter of seconds. And at that point, it was not a rumor anymore. It was not speculation. It was basically official confirmation, just waiting for the formal announcement to catch up. And not long after that, Hendrick Motorsports made it truly official. Justin Allgaier is stepping into the number 48 for Las Vegas. And this is where it gets really interesting, because this is not a random fill-in driver they just called up to keep the seat warm. Allgaier brings real, legitimate experience with over 80 Cup Series starts already on his resume. He also has a strong, deep connection to the Hendrick organization through JR Motorsports, where he has been one of the most consistent Xfinity Series drivers in the country for years. This is someone the organization knows, trusts, and believes in. And he is not coming in cold either. He is coming in with momentum, including a recent win in the Xfinity Series that showed his speed and his confidence are right where they need to be. So this decision is not just about filling a seat and keeping the car on track. It is about stabilizing a situation that was starting to feel shaky and sending a message internally that Hendrick is not going to let this spiral. And that is exactly what this organization needs right now, because replacing a driver at Hendrick Motorsports mid-season is never simple. This is one of the top operations in all of NASCAR. Every single car on that team is expected to compete at the highest level every single week. There are no off days. There are no grace periods. Allgaier's role going into Las Vegas is very clear. Keep the car clean, manage the race intelligently, stay out of trouble, and avoid turning what is already a tough situation into an even bigger disaster. And at Las Vegas Motor Speedway specifically, that approach matters more than almost anywhere else on the schedule. This track is all about long green flag runs, tire management, pit strategy, and staying disciplined when the race gets long and the gaps start to close. You need patience. You need focus. You need someone who is not going to panic when things get tight. And that is exactly what Allgaier brings to the table. Now, let's talk about the biggest concern through all of this, because at the end of the day, the most important part of this whole story is Alex Bowman himself. The vertigo symptoms have not fully gone away, and Hendrick Motorsports has made it absolutely clear that they are not going to rush him back under any circumstances. And honestly, that is the right call. That is the only call, because this is not just about performance anymore. This is not about standings or sponsor obligations or trying to salvage a playoff spot. This is about the safety of a human being driving a race car at nearly 200 miles per hour. You simply cannot take risks with something like vertigo. You cannot guess your way through it and hope for the best. This situation also has a ripple effect across the entire Hendrick Motorsports organization. This is a team built to dominate with elite drivers like Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and William Byron all expected to be in the championship conversation. But now the number 48 car becomes a real variable in the equation. Less consistency, less continuity, more pressure on the crew chiefs and the team to adjust on the fly. And in a season where every single point matters and the playoff picture is always just a few races away from shifting dramatically, this kind of instability in one of your four cars can absolutely become a real problem if it drags on long enough. So now we are left staring at the biggest question of all. How long will Alex Bowman actually be out? Because vertigo is not something you push through with willpower or tough out with tape and adrenaline like a bruised rib or a sore shoulder. Until he's fully clear by doctors, until every single symptom is completely gone and he feels right behind the wheel again, that seat stays open. This situation started as a mid-race scare at COTA. Then it became a one-race absence at Phoenix. Then a leaked press release confirmed a longer replacement plan. And now it has turned into a multi-week absence, a surprise replacement driver, an accidental announcement, and honestly one of the most talked-about storylines in NASCAR right now heading into Darlington and beyond. All eyes are going to be on that number 48 car over the next few weeks. Can Allgaier come in and steady the ship? Can he give the team something to build on while they wait for their driver to get healthy? Can they finally have a clean, competitive race weekend and stop the bleeding in the standings? And most importantly, when is Alex Bowman actually coming back? That is the question nobody has a real answer to yet. And that uncertainty is what makes this so compelling to follow right now. And honestly, if you ask me, this is one of those situations where Hendrick Motorsports absolutely has to play the long game, no matter how painful or frustrating it feels in the moment. Because sure, you want your driver back as fast as possible. You want that number 48 car back up front where it belongs. You want the rhythm and continuity that comes with having your full lineup intact. But when you're dealing with something like vertigo, there is simply no rushing it. One bad moment at full speed with 40 other cars around, you can change absolutely everything in a split second. So in my opinion, they made the right call bringing in Justin Allgaier. You're not asking him to go out there and immediately win the race or light up the scoreboard. You're asking him to be professional, keep the car clean, manage the situation intelligently, and most importantly, keep the number 48 program from falling so far behind that it becomes impossible to recover even when Bowman does come back. Now, the real question hanging over everything is how long this actually goes on. Because if this stretches into more than just a few races, then this stops being a short-term adjustment and starts becoming a serious blow to Bowman's season, his playoff chances, and the overall trajectory of that program in 2026. And as a fan, that is genuinely the tough part to sit with, because you know the talent is there. You know this team can run up front and compete with anybody when everything is right. But right now, everything is on hold. Everything is waiting, and it will stay that way until Alex Bowman is 100% ready and cleared to get back in that car. So yeah, this is far from over. Not even close. And I think the next few weeks are going to tell us a whole lot about where this season is really headed for that number 48 team and for Hendrick Motorsports as a whole. If you're following this as closely as I am, drop your thoughts in the comments below. How long do you think Bowman is actually going to be out? And what do you expect from Allgaier stepping in during this stretch? I want to hear what you think. And if you're new here, this is exactly what we do at NASCAR Nation Report. Real NASCAR talk, honest reactions, no fluff, no filler. Just fans who genuinely live and breathe this sport every single week. Go ahead and like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report. We are a brand new channel chasing our first 10,000 subscribers, and we are just getting started. If you are a true NASCAR fan, you're going to want to be part of this from the very beginning.